Hi, it's Kai, and today we are going to be doing a talking my trash video because as you can see, the bag that I am using to put all of my beauty and lifestyle empties in, it is pretty much completely full. I actually have some products that didn't even fit in here, and I've been trying to use a smaller bag versus the big container that I used to use for these videos so that I can do them more frequently. And if I'm going to do that, I have to actually film the video once everything is filled, or once the bag is filled, instead of just throwing more stuff on top of it and then saying I'll get to it when I get to it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy these videos. It's just an empties video, whether I would repurchase it, what my experience was with it. We're all well versed with empties videos here, so I feel like I don't need to go in depth with what type of video it is. And these are usually a little bit longer, so I just want to go ahead and cut the chatter right here. I will say, if the voice, or what is that called, the audio, I guess, is a little bit more wonky than usual, it's because both of my little mini mics, I have the one in front of me, I don't know if you can see this one right now, but like there's literally glue and all of these things. I'm trying so many different ways to attach things to them because the clips broke off on the back of both of them, and I need to also keep it clear so that I can, what do you call it, like charge them. I had thought that I fixed them in some sort of way by putting a hair clip on the back of the other one, and that I would be able to just turn it around when I needed to charge it, but it's too big to go into the base. Anyway, that's all an aside. I just wanted to say that I've tweaked like the microphone volume, so hopefully it's not too loud. If not, I'll put it back down to where it was, but because it's not as close to me and like the bag that I am talking about, or that has stuff I'm talking about, is in front of me, you might hear a little bit more ruffling and rustling than maybe it would have normally. Anyway, all that is to say, let's just hop into this video. We're actually going to start with some of the products that are outside of the bag because those are the bigger ones. They're also the ones that I feel like people would find boring, but they're some of my favorite products to talk about, which are the lifestyle, aka my laundry products. Honestly, I've talked about all of these in recent-ish empties videos, so I won't harp on them too long. But I like talking about my laundry favorites because, in my opinion, as someone who likes body care, fragrance, smelling good, all of that, I feel like the first step to smelling good with your body care and fragrance and stuff like that, on top of your body just being clean, would be your clothes also being clean and smelling good. So anyway, I've got like scent boosters and stuff like that. I recently purchased these are the Arm & Hammer Odor Blasters Fresh Burst scent beads. They're more of like a small, versus being a bead. It's more, I don't know, almost like sandy, but not really sand, like big pieces of sand. Anyway, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not quite as big beads. So I do feel like I run through these a little bit quicker because I'm wanting to use more of them. And I specifically purchased these because I had tried, which I also emptied, the Odor Blasters Deep Rinse and Revitalize Fabric Rinse, which is my favorite rinse, the Fresh Burst scent. It's just such a clean, aromatic scent. And I was like, let me pair them together. And I will say, I really do like how these work in my laundry together. I feel like it lasts pretty nicely on the clothes, better than either one of these on their own. However, I just feel as though there's something about the scent, like they're not exactly the same scent. There's something that's much more fresh, clean, and musky about this. And then I feel like there is something more floral and almost like soapy in a different way that's coming through with the, what do you call it? It's like the scent boosters specifically. So while they do combine together to smell really good on my clothes, I do feel like I have other scent beads that I like better, even in combination with this rinse. So again, I could see myself repurchasing it, but I feel like I'll probably bounce around or bounce back to these other ones, which I have also talked about before. They're the Downy Unstoppables Fusions laundry scent boosters. This is the Daybreak and Clean scent, which is another one that is just really clean and fresh. This is a little bit more soapy, musky, like almost like Tide detergent smelling. I love how this sticks on the clothes. I even have some items that I use this on, which I've been out of this for a few weeks now, but I have some items, some shirts or shorts or whatever that I use this on, and that I pulled them out to wear them recently. And even though they've been in my drawer for weeks, I could still smell this on them. So even with them being tucked in a drawer, the scent is still really nice and potent with this, which is why it's my favorite. And I generally just like the way that the Downy Unstoppables performs better than most of the other scent boosters, if I can be completely honest. So again, I will probably return back to this one because it's still my favorite. Like I said, this is my favorite fabric rinse for my laundry, so I actually have another one of these emptied. And then for my towels, I actually do like to use Audubon. This is this Night Ice specific scent, and I've talked about Audubon before. You can use it as a disinfectant, a deodorizer. I use this all over my house pretty much. Again, you can use it as a laundry like freshener spray. Throw it on the stuff in your closet, use it to mop your floors, use it for your counters. I do use it for everything. The Night Ice scent is kind of that, like, I mean, if you've smelled it, like black ice, things like that, you've smelled this scent before. I do feel like it's really nice and fresh and clean and not quite as overwhelming, especially once you dilute it. And it smells really nice on my towels. I'll admit, I almost like the way that this smells on my towels better than like some of the more linen and laundry scents of the Audubon. However, the scent is definitely a little bit heavier, and for my home, I feel like I like the lighter laundry scents for the spring and summertime. So will I probably repurchase this when we get closer to the fall and winter again, since it does have that deeper woody-ish kind of profile? Yes, but again, for right now, I'm kind of liking the more fresh linen. I think the one that I have is the clean linen scent or fresh linen. So again, love Audubon, definitely would recommend. It's just about finding a scent that you like, and they have a bunch of scents, so it won't be hard for you to find a scent that you like. Since there are all the different types and brands coming out with fabric rinses, I decided to try one that I've only seen, I think, in Walmarts before, but it's Suavitel, and I really wanted to try Suavitel because honestly, like, if you have ever gone by like Hispanic people, especially like a construction site where there are Hispanic people. I actually had recently some clients where there's some work being done on like the apartment, and the job site does have a lot of Hispanic people on there, and it smelled so good. Like, they don't smell like sweat and smell bad afterwards. And so I have done deep dives into what they use, and honestly, a lot of the Hispanic people say that they like to use the Ariel, which I use Ariel detergent. That's where I found it, like Hispanic laundry talk, especially Mexican laundry talk specifically. They know what they're doing. I think Ariel is specifically sold in Mexico. All that is to say, they say that they use Ariel, and the fabric softener that they often say they use is Suavitel. And I don't use fabric softener because I sweat a lot, and I do feel as though for the clothes that I have the tendency for them to really like cling on or like sweat and stuff to, you know what I'm saying? And the fabric softener sometimes doesn't allow that all to get out. So my clothes don't ever smell quite like that with fabric softener. And it also could be because some of my clothes I do line dry versus drying in the dryer, and that can also give your clothes like a little bit of a damp, mildewy smell, especially since our detergents are like detergents in other parts of the world where line drying or not using the dryer to dry clothes are actually made for that, and to like combat the kind of stale, mildewy scent that can come with it. Anyway, that is all an aside. they always say that they use Suavitel. They smell really great. And so I'm just like, I want to use Suavitel too. And so now Suavitel has a fabric rinse, which is, I think, yeah, it's a citric acid like a lot of the other ones, fabric rinse versus using fabric softener. This scent is the Floral Fresh scent, and I think they have another one in blue packaging, but I can't remember what that's called right now. This one kind of has a little bit of a tropical white floral type of scent, which I really vibe with, and I feel like with the right scent beads, I wish they had matching scent beads with these, because I would love to use that for a scent combo for like all of my linens and stuff, especially over summertime, but I haven't found any scent beads that quite match with this, and that's the issue, because I want it to amplify the way that this smells, and I just don't feel like some of the other scent beads I've used with it, I feel like compete with the smell of this. However, it smells really good. It is a little bit of a thicker consistency, so I did notice a little bit of residue in the cup. What is that? The fabric softener cup. That's where I put the rinses in my machine, since my machine has a slot for it. But I noticed the cup getting a little bit like having some residue in it versus not really noticing that residue with other of the fabric rinses. I feel like the other fabric rinses are a little bit thinner in consistency. So I could see myself repurchasing this, especially if I can find some scent beads that work well with it, but I wouldn't say that it's my all-time favorite, and especially like the size, it is pretty inexpensive. However, I feel like I went through it, especially with how much laundry I end up having to do. I go through things pretty quickly, so the bigger the size I can get of something, the better for me, usually. I've also talked about these, but again, I like my house to smell good, and part of that is making sure my cats don't make my house smell like cat, especially with the litter box. I'm so sensitive, especially with being a pet sitter. Like, no, it's not like a big deal, I guess, but I guess I can really tell, and I've always been sensitive to smells, but especially again with pet sitting, I can really tell when like a litter box hasn't been cleaned in a hot second, because it's just, you can smell the pee and poop, or like you can smell when a cat just used the litter box, things like that. Either way, I like to use, again, Arm & Hammer. This is the double duty litter deodorizer. Again, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this multiple times before, but I just sprinkle some in along with the pine pellet litter, and I promise, like, yeah, it does have a little bit of like a woody, cedary, like outdoorsy type of smell, but I would prefer having that smell, and I don't necessarily dislike it, but I would prefer having that smell mixed in with a little bit of this, which is kind of like a clean, fresh, honestly kind of a laundry detergent-y scent, but I'd rather have a mixture of that versus like smelling like poop and all of that type of stuff. Even clay litters, I don't like the clay litters because of how dusty they are, but even with clay litters, some of them are just more prone to the smells. Like, even if they're supposed to be the odor covering and release the odor when they pee and it clumps and all of that, some of them, they're just not all made equal. Then I have the scent that I have been using in my car. They're the Little Trees Vent Wraps Black Ice, which we were just talking about, night ice or black ice. These essentially smell the same, kind of that like woody. I feel like it smells a little bit fresh, especially when you don't use all four. Like, there were 4 little vent wraps in here. If you don't use all 4 of them at once and you just use one and then let the scent completely dissipate and then get rid of it and then use another one, I don't feel like it gives you that overwhelming scent that this scent, like, I feel like a lot of people have a negative connotation of this scent in particular because of someone having 3 or 4 or 5 of the little trees of it blasting in their car at one point or at one time, or they also get the sprays and spray it all over their car. I promise this scent is not that bad if you just use it sparingly, if you just put one little vent in there. Maybe because like the cabin of my car is a little bit bigger it circulates better, and so it's not as in your face as if I was in a smaller car. I feel like that also determines your experience with your car fragrance. But either way, I would repurchase these. Again, not feeling like repurchasing them right now because the scent is a little bit heavier than what I would like for spring and summertime. Okie dokie, and into the beauty things. The first thing I have in here is the ASP Prep and Clean Dehydrant. This is a nail dehydrant for like doing nail polish, doing acrylic nails, and it is completely empty. I think I had maybe a small little sliver at the bottom, and the lower that you get of a product like this, it just kind of evaporates eventually. So I do think the last little bit evaporated. I went to use it to do my nails actually. I've been trying to paint them more, and I've wanted to paint them more actually, but I have the type of nails that if you look at them wrong, they start peeling no matter how much care I take in trying to remove nails, acrylics, press-ons, even just regular polish well and not damage my nails. I just have the type of nails that always get peely and they break and they get brittle really easily if I use those products or use nail products too much. I've actually wanted to explore maybe just doing like dots and very simple designs and then going over with like a protein type of clear top coat on top of that so that it gives the effect of my nails being done without having the full coat of polish that may peel up or dry out or make my nails brittle, just all of that type of stuff. It's really difficult to have nails like mine. I just wish I had the very sturdy nails that my grandma has. I wish I had gotten that trait from her. Anywho, if you're a person whose nails tend to be peely like that or tend to get damaged really easily, you also know that nail polish doesn't stick very well, or even press-ons and acrylic and the glue and stuff like that cannot stick very well. And one of the ways you can get it to stick better is to make sure that your nails are completely dry and prepped and basically stripped of all of the oils, and that's what this does. Yes, you can use alcohol. I think 70 to 90% alcohol can be used for it. I think 90% can be used because you're not necessarily trying to disinfect your nail before, but I know if you're trying to disinfect tools or like your desk or something like that, 90% alcohol is actually too high of a percentage to do so because it will not stay on long enough. It won't stay wet long enough to actually disinfect. Aside from all that, you could just use alcohol, especially in this economy. You don't need to go out and buy a whole nother product, but if you have it in your budget, if you're at somewhere like Sally's Beauty Supply, that's where I get a lot of my nail products and tools and stuff like that. But if you want to have a dedicated nail product or dedicated product for your nails like that, I do recommend this. I feel like I noticed a difference, especially when I was doing press-ons. I noticed a drastic difference when I used this before, along with other prep steps, of course, but when I used this before versus when I did not, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna buff my nails and quickly clean them off. Even using sometimes those little alcohol pads that come with the nails, it just wasn't enough of the alcohol, I guess, to dry out my nail and get all of the oils off. So I do again recommend something like this. Another product I won't harp on too long because I've talked about it literally for years, but I actually have tried something new, so who knows, this may be the last time you ever hear about the Tom's of Maine toothpaste. This is the Whiten Deep Clean Peppermint flavor. I get the ones with fluoride in it because I think fluoride is necessary for your teeth to be healthy. I did have a period where I had a little bit of a crunchy phase earlier in my 20s, and where I didn't get the fluoride version of it, and that was the time in my life where I needed the most dental work done on my teeth. Imagine that. Anywho, I really like the Tom's of Maine toothpaste, but there was a video, and this is where sometimes I don't like the unregulated use of the internet, and I always qualify that I'm not a scientist. I'm just a girl who likes talking about products, you know what I'm saying? But there's so many people who do use their credentials, even if they're not a scientist, or even if they are a scientist in a certain area but not another one. Like, they use that authority to just run rampant on the internet. And there was a video that I had gotten sent because people knew that I used this toothpaste, about different toothpaste from Tom's of Maine. Now, the fact that Tom's of Maine is, who are they? I think they got acquired. They're now under one of the, what is that called? Conglomerates, you know? They're not independently owned, which people have their feelings about that especially. But there was a study done, which the origins, when I tried to look more into it, I couldn't really find anything definitive. And again, I am not a like, I'm not trained in science. I can extract certain things from certain studies, but when it comes down to the scientific part of it, and like how much lead is allowed to be in a product and how much of certain toxins are allowed, like, I don't completely understand that. So there was, again, this study going around basically saying that some of the more popular toothpaste, like Tom's of Maine, Colgate, all of those had certain amounts of lead in them, and obviously that doesn't make you feel good. And it got sent to me, and it ended up, like, I watched it and everything, saw it, had some conversations about it, and then I remember going back in the thread that it was sent to me in, and the video was gone, it was deleted. And it's just like, I feel like if you put a certain type of video out and then it's not true, or you have to change your stance, or you misinterpreted the data or whatever, you should have to come online and make a public retraction of what you said. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's just like, I don't know whether this is safe. I'm sure but then with the way that we are, or where we are socio-politically, and all of the rollbacks to regulations and stuff, I can't necessarily be 100% like, oh yeah, this toothpaste is safe. They wouldn't put, like, there's regulations to prevent them from putting too much lead in it. It's really difficult. So all that is to say, I did, again, being a girly who has some OCD up in her, I did get a little bit icked out by the Tom's of Maine brand in the toothpaste, even if that video was complete misinformation. And if it was, I hope the proper steps are taken to, like, clear up that misinformation. But either way, I'll just say, I don't know the truth about it, but it made me want to try another toothpaste. So I am trying something new, which you'll eventually see in an empties video. Next is this Tony Moly Changing Magic Foot Peeling Shoes. It's a foot mask, an exfoliating foot mask. I have some of the, especially over like the winter time and stuff, the crustiest, dustiest, ashiest feet known to man. Like, it's really, really bad, and I need to start getting like intensive foot creams and stuff like that to combat it, because it's hereditary too. Like, I see my future. I've seen what my parents and grandparents and their feet, like, it's coming for me really hard. So I do try to, when I notice my feet getting really, really bad, do one of these foot masks. And the previous brand that I really liked, and that was pretty inexpensive, they used to be like $3 or $4 a foot mask. They're only sold at Target, and I don't really shop at Target anymore. So when I was doing my weekly grocery shopping at Kroger, I saw this on one of the end caps, and I was like, you know what? I've also seen that at Ulta. I think it may be sold online only at Ulta, or maybe my local Ultas just never have it in stock. But either way, I saw it and was like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. It's only, I think it was $6 or $7 at Kroger, but I was like, that's only double the price of the one that I used to like. And I've also tried the baby, what is that, baby foot, I think it is. I've tried those too. I think those are really good as well. That was like my favorite, and it was basically the same thing as the one that I found that was less expensive. Like, they worked so comparably that I was like, it was devastating to go from potentially buying $3 a foot mask up to, I think those were like $5 or $25 rather. So again, $25 was just not something I wanted to pay for a single-use foot mask at the time. that one is really good. If you've got the extra money, you got a coupon or something like that, then go for it. But again, I just wasn't looking to pay that much. So I bought these, I used them, put them on my feet, left them on. Admittedly, I sometimes do more than what the back says. I think the back says like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I will put them on for 3 hours. I'll put on a movie or a softball game or something because I just know my feet need deeper penetration. And usually within, or at least with the baby foot and the other one, within like 2 days, I would start seeing my foot peeling. And because within 2 days of this one, I felt like my feet were still rough and I hadn't seen any peeling yet, I was like, I don't think these are good. I feel like these are one of those foot masks, even if it says it's supposed to be peeling and exfoliating, but it's not one of the ones that actually peels and exfoliates. Like it might be a little bit of one of the fluky ones. And then a few days later, or like really over the next day, I was actually at a pet sitting gig. This is crazy to admit online, but I was at a pet sitting gig and I hadn't put on socks that morning because it was like 7 in the morning. And I looked down like on the floor where I had walked, or on the rug specifically, because the rest was hardwood. So it was noticeable on this dark blue rug. And I noticed these little like flakes and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did the cat get into something? Like, no, it was literally like I looked down at my feet and it's peeling like just sheets and sheets. And my feet are pretty nice. Like my calluses on my big toe, like those are something that are probably going to need specific treatments for. I need to do more for that. But like my heels, the bottom of my foot, I've honestly not felt my feet so soft in the longest time. So honestly, I am going to be purchasing more of these, especially if I can get them on sale at Ulta and get like multiple packs of them. I feel like if I can keep these on deck, then your girl will have the most smooth feet. Like I'll be able to actually achieve feet that don't look crusty and dusty and ashy all the time. However, it will sacrifice me potentially leaving little flakes if I don't, if I'm wearing shoes. Like I genuinely did not even think about it, and I'm here wearing these freaking, what are those called? Not Tevas. I have Chacos. I have the Chaco ones, and I'm wearing those, and my foot is just fully peeling, but I'm not paying attention to that. We're gonna blame the lighting in my apartment. I don't have a lot of overhead lighting, so we're working with what we've got. Next is the Super Sweet Shower Thoughts Daily Reset Scrub. This is the scent Caramel Temptress, and while Caramel Temptress isn't my all-time favorite scent, it is one of those really creamy, sweet, rich, honeyed type of caramelly vanilla scents. It's just not my vibe completely. I didn't mind this, especially given the body wash that I'm currently trying to finish is a vanilla body wash. This paired really well with it. So it was like a nice decadent, like smelling like ice cream and desserts type of vibe in my shower. But I actually was not expecting to like this as a shower scrub, or a body scrub, I should say, as much as I did. I did get sent this from the brand along with some of their other products. And overall, they're a brand that, even though I got sent the products, like I keep talking about them because I genuinely enjoy them. I feel like I've talked about them in multiple favorites videos and like here and there, and just name drop them a lot, honestly. And it's really nice when you get products from a brand, because I know everyone likes to be like, oh, people only talk positive about PR products because it was sent to them. Again, I can acknowledge that this isn't my favorite scent of this product, but I liked the product itself enough to repurchase it. So they actually sent me another one. What happened was, during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, they were on sale, I think like 30% off. I knew I was getting towards the end of this, and I knew that I loved their pear skin scent. I keep talking about the pear skin scent, it will never stop escaping. It's like word vomit. It just keeps coming out. I can't stop talking about that scent because it's just so good. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I like the scrub enough, like the formula enough of it to purchase the scent of it that I enjoy. So I did purchase that one during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. I talked about how I purchased it during the 21 Days of Beauty sale and how much I love the pear skin scent in general. And they were like, hey, we'll send you some more products. So I got another box of products on my doorstep, and they had actually sent me the one that I'm currently using, which is the Gimme Flowers scent of their body scrub. But back to the reason why I would even like this enough to purchase. I have talked about the packaging before because this is a very similar / the same type of packaging that the Le Monde Gourmand body scrubs come in. It has this like twist off at the bottom, and then you squeeze out the product and then you close it up. There's just like a little bit left, like that little baby spittle that is always left over in squeeze bottles like this. But with the Le Monde Gourmand one specifically, what I did not enjoy about them was the fact that the scrub itself, that one was a sugar scrub texture, and I felt like the scrub was too thick to come out of the hole. This texture of the product fixes that problem. I think this is a quartz, precious quartz and oat extract. It's just overall a thinner formula, and because of that, it's able to actually squeeze out, and it doesn't feel like you are putting so much elbow grease into trying to squeeze it out, or when you're squeezing it, it's falling out of your hand and slipping and all that because of course the shower is wet. So again, I feel like the packaging is just a lot more compatible with the actual formula of the product inside of it, and that makes it a much better experience to use. On top of that, I like that it is a little bit more of a fine type of scrub. I still feel it on my skin, but it's definitely not super like abrasive or anything like that. So I think if you have sensitive skin, you could probably use this without it making your skin red and blotchy or scratching it up too bad. And I also like how perfumed these are. You can smell them on your skin afterward, and especially if you're layering them with products that smell similar, whether they're the Super Sweet brand or other brands of products, you're definitely going to be able to have like a light scent going on your body once you're out of the shower. Of course, it's not going to be like a perfume, but it definitely, like, you can sniff, like, come up close to your body and definitely sniff something. If someone's really close to you, you could probably get away with not using anything. And again, maybe it's just because these types of scents are a little bit overwhelming to me personally that I feel like that, but I really like them. It was good enough for me to repurchase, and then I'm happy that they sent me another one in the other scent because I do like that scent too. Then we've got two lotions. The first one I finished is the EOS Strawberry Dream Shea Better body lotion. You guys know how I feel about the EOS lotions. I absolutely love them, and Strawberry Dream is one of my favorites. It's one of those fluffy strawberry milk creamy type of fragrances, and it just smells so fragrant. It sticks really well on the skin. It's really good for layering. I, again, have no gripes about the EOS lotions personally. They're some of my favorites, especially for a lotion that balances hydration and like the creaminess and like the experience of the lotion along with the scent. Sometimes you can get lotions that are perfumed and they're just really thin and just don't actually provide much as far as moisturization on the body. A brand that I do feel like does that pretty well as well, even though they're definitely at a higher price point than the EOS ones, Future Society. I actually really like their body care products. This is their Solar Canopy. You can see I am going to cut open a lotion and get every bit out of it. This is their Solar Canopy scent, which some people will say is kind of a cousin of Delina. If it's a cousin of Delina, I would say it's a pretty distant cousin. It has that kind of rose lychee vibe to it. And I think I may have also talked about the fragrance, like the eau de parfum of this in my spring fragrance picks video. So I'll link that in the card area. but it kind of has that rose lychee-ish type of base, but there's also, I don't know if it's passion fruit. I feel like I said it was passion fruit or something like that, and then when I looked up the notes, it was not passion fruit, or passion fruit wasn't listed, but it kind of has that really juicy kind of tart passion fruit, that type of tropical fruit vibe to it as well. There's a juiciness. I think there's also pink pepper, so there's a little bit of a, I would say it's like a musky, it's not really like a spicy pepper, it just comes off a little bit like edgy, if that makes sense. But it's one that I really like. It's great for layering. I layer it with Delina, I layer it with the Solar Canopy fragrance, but also with some of my other rose lychee, like anything within that kind of realm, I will layer with this. So one that, again, I really like. I may actually have another lotion of this that they sent me, and if I do, I'm definitely going to have to bring that out soon because this is a really good one for spring and summertime. We've got my Lone skincare product. This is the Chasin' Rabbit's Magic Beauty Shroom Adaptogenic Treatment Essence, and I liked this. I think it's a really nice, it's lightweight, but it still gives a nice bit of hydration to the skin. My only issue with this product, I would say, is that it really doesn't have any other benefits. At least I didn't notice any other benefits to my skin outside of it being like a hydrating product. It wasn't something that was going to help with my pores being clogged or with exfoliation. It wasn't going to, again, just do really anything outside of hydration. And I'm looking for products that are going to hydrate my skin or the texture of my skin or just do more. Like, I don't want to have a whole bunch of individual steps in my makeup routine, or not makeup routine, in my skincare routine anymore, where I'm just constantly layering products and it's 10 steps. I want to be like 3 or 4 steps and being done. And again, I like this. I could see myself repurchasing it, but I would need to repurchase it to accompany some other serum or something else. And when there are other serums that I do feel like give me that hydration and do something else, brightens dark spots or exfoliates lightly or just something, again, something else, it's one that isn't necessarily on my priority list to repurchase. I'd probably be more enticed to repurchase it if I saw it on sale or something. And then I have 4 makeup products, which I feel like is more than what I normally do. The first one is the eyebrow gel that I've been using literally for like 2 years now. This is the e.l.f. Brow Laminating Gel. And if I'm being completely honest, it's not completely empty of product, but it's to the point where I've just had to say, hey, it's like making, I don't know if it's because it's gunking up with some of the other products that I have had over the year, like, you know, foundation, etc., or if it's just so old that the formula is going off. Even though I will say I notice more flaking, like I still notice flaking early on using this if I use too much of it or too many layers, but especially towards the end of using this, it just got so gunky that I ended up saying, like one day I was looking at my brows and it literally was just white flakes in it, and I said, okay, it's gotta be done. Like, you've used this long enough and used most of it, like you're scraping at the sides and everything, you can't really feel much in it. You're just trying to get every piece of product in the very OCD way that I can sometimes be with like project panning or trying to finish products. And it's just like, once the product is mostly done and it's not really working the way you need it to anymore, it's over. You know, I did like that. e.l.f. isn't a brand that I'm really trying to gravitate toward, but again, I do feel like if you used too much of it, it made your eyebrows gunky. I liked the hold that it had, but I think I'll just try other things. Next is a setting spray. It's the Urban Decay All Nighter, and this is admittedly the old formula of it because I got a PR package with some other products of theirs, and it makes me wonder because they announced the new formula, or the reformulation, I guess I should say, a few months after sending me that PR package early last year. So it makes me wonder, did they send these in the PR package just to get rid of old stock, or what it was that, you know what I'm saying? But I used to actually like the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. I think it's actually a fantastic setting spray for like keeping your face on, especially like I live in Georgia. It gets hot here during the summertime, and I feel like I can get away with this with having very minimal creasing, or like even where my, what do you call it, my glasses meet my face without it moving the makeup too much around that area. So it's kind of sad. I know you can get it from Scandinavia. Trust me, I'm completely aware that they have it. They have other setting sprays, their bridal spray, all of that. It was just, and I think I've talked about it a little bit before in like chatty get ready with me type of videos, but with the, I understand them being upset and being blindsided that their biggest partner and potentially one of their biggest like forms of revenue was the partnership with Urban Decay for this setting spray. Again, I can understand being blindsided by their decision to move to make their own, or, you know, just discontinue the partnership and everything. But I just feel as though Scandinavia dragged it. They dragged it to the point, instead of focusing on what their product provides or why people liked their version of the setting spray so much, they focused too much, in my opinion, on the fact that they were wronged and all of this stuff. And I'm sorry, like, when, as someone who has a business, like I have 2 degrees in business, background in business, took all those business classes. Like they always tell you, don't rely on one source of revenue, don't rely on one customer to build your business. So I feel as though, yeah, I'm sure with a big conglomerate or a contract with a brand that is under a big conglomerate, there was a lot of like anti-compete type of stuff, but they should have possibly been trying to like advance their own brand separate from Urban Decay for a while now, so that they wouldn't have been blindsided by that. And again, moving forward, focus more on why people like your product, why people wanted to buy this product, because it was a good setting spray, not because of drama between Urban Decay, or because you want people to pity you and be like, oh, I'm going to buy from Scandinavia because I feel bad. You want to make long-lasting customers, which is going to be focusing on the actual effectiveness of the product you had with them, versus, again, getting those pity customers who might buy once and then they may say, okay, is it really that different from another setting spray that I've tried at this point, or my favorite setting spray, or with the current economy, is this a setting spray that I'm willing to purchase when I'm not really like getting, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if any of that is making sense. I just, again, wish they were focused a little bit more on how their product works versus feeling like scorched earth type of thing. Okay, I've got to go rapid fire with the last 3 products because I've got to go work. So 2 lip balms. One is the one that I've mainly had in my car to try to finish up. It's the Persona Day Mask Peptide Lip Balm in the shade Pomegranate. And I liked this. It had a nice berryish color. I feel like it was really good for when I just needed to throw something on and again feel put together, or to have a pop of color on the lips and tie everything else, or like if my lip color had already faded off. I do believe it's been reformulated. This formula, which is the old formulation, wasn't necessarily my favorite as far as like the amount and longevity of the moisturization you got from it. While it lasted okay, you know, fine on the lips, I would say that the moisture you got from it, once, especially once it dried or wore off, I guess you could say, it just wasn't really long lasting in that way. So I hope they have improved upon that part without altering the color, because I really did enjoy the color of this. Then there is a clear lip balm, which is one of my favorite lip balm formulas. They also have tinted lip balms if you're into those, but I have, as you've seen, dug into this one. It's the Phytosurgeon's Calm Conditioning's Clear Coast one. Again, it's just their clear formula of it, and I would put this underneath lip products over other lip products when I needed some hydration. Next to me on my bed, I have multiple of them actually. Next to me on my bed throughout the day. Like, this is truly just an anytime, anywhere lip balm for me. And the same thing with the colorful ones. I will throw them in my bag and be able to just have a quick little wash of color. These are ones that even after the product, even after the color and everything has worn off on the lips, I do still feel like they have a good bit of moisturization. Like, my lips don't feel dry and crusty and dusty after they've worn off. And then lastly is the Soul fragrance that I finished this month, which actually it's a sample that leaked and I only had one use out of it, which is really sad because I quite liked this one. It's Lease Ethereal Wave, and this is one of those kind of like lemon, fresh green tea type of fragrances. I feel like it doesn't lean too hard. Like, it definitely has that citrus aspect to it, but it's not so citrusy that I don't experience any of the more tea aspects. I do feel like you can feel a tea coming out of it versus it just being like, oh, this is like a really watery, lemony, citrus type of scent. So I definitely want to get another sample of this to use. Again, it was like a sample that they had sent me in like a sample box along with some of their other ones, and I was so sad that this one was empty and had leaked out because it definitely seems like a fragrance that it was a fragrance that I really enjoyed wearing on my body, but I would have loved to have even more time with it. Anywho, that is all of my empties for the past, I don't know, probably like month and a half to 2 months. I can't remember exactly when I filmed the last one, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've tried any of these products, if you have any favorites amongst these, or just what you finished lately. I hope you're staying safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.